I am 90 years old, a general, a man who once commanded thousands. I have won every battle I ever fought, every single one. But tonight, as I sit alone in this quiet room, I want you to hear something I have never said out loud, something I should have said 50 years ago. I won every battle, and I lost every person I ever loved. You are watching this because you think you still have time. You think the people you love will wait. You think the moments will come back. You think there will be another chance to say what you never said. I thought the same thing. I was wrong. Look at my hands. They have held rifles. They have signed orders that sent young men to their deaths. They have saluted flags in countries that no longer exist. But these same hands never held my daughter long enough, never wrote the letters my wife waited for, never reached for my father before he died alone in a hospital bed across the ocean. I won the war. I lost the home. Let me tell you who I was. At 32, I was the youngest colonel in our army. At 40, I had medals my chest could barely hold. Presidents shook my hand. Newspapers wrote my name in bold letters. Soldiers feared me. Enemies respected me. The world called me a great man. But greatness is a strange word. The world measures it in victories. Life measures it in something else. And I did not understand that. Not until it was too late. Imagine something for me. Imagine a man who has commanded armies, who has stood under enemy fire without flinching, who has buried more brothers than he can count. Now imagine that same man sitting in an empty house, listening to a clock tick, with no one left to call. No one. Not one voice that knows him as anything more than a stranger in an old photograph on a wall. That man is me. And the worst part, the part that wakes me at 3 a.m. and will not let me sleep again, is that I had the chance. I had every chance. I just chose the wrong thing every single time. My wife waited for me for 26 years, through 3 wars, through deployments I cannot count, through birthdays I missed, anniversaries I forgot, through a son she had to raise alone because I was always somewhere else, always serving something I called important. She finally stopped waiting, and by the time I noticed, she was gone. Not dead, just gone from my life. Do you know what I told myself? I told myself I would fix it later. I would make it up to her later, after the next promotion, after the next mission, after I retired. Later never came. It never does. Not for anyone. I am telling you this because I see you, yes, you, the one watching this on a screen, half listening, thinking that an old man's words have nothing to do with your life. I was you. 60 years ago, I was exactly where you are now. I had a mother who called, a father who wanted just one afternoon, a child who pulled on my sleeve and asked me to stay home, a wife who looked at me with hope, waiting for me to look back. I did not look back. I was building something. I was chasing something. I told myself there would be time. Don't make my mistake. Sit with that for a moment. Because in the next part of this story, I am going to tell you exactly what I lost and how. By the end, I promise you, you will see your own life in mine. And maybe, just maybe, you still have time to do what I could not. Let me take you back. Back to when I still thought I was building a life. It was 1962. I was 34. My son Daniel was 7 years old. He had a school play on a Thursday evening. He had practiced for weeks. He told me again and again, "Papa, will you come? Papa, please come." And I told him, "Of course I will be there. Nothing is more important." That Thursday morning, my commanding officer called me into his office. He needed someone for a strategic meeting 2 hours away. Just one evening. Just one. I could have said no. I could have. But I said yes. I said yes because I told myself it was an opportunity. I told myself my son would understand. I told myself there would be other plays. I came home at midnight. The house was dark. On the kitchen table, there was a small folded paper card. My son had drawn a stick figure of me in uniform. Above it, in a child's handwriting, he had written, "For my hero." I saved you a seat. That card sat in my desk drawer for 40 years. I would open the drawer sometimes, look at it and close it again. I never threw it away. I never apologized. I told myself there would be a better time, a quieter moment, a right place to say I was sorry. There never was. That was the first crack. The first time something in my life broke, and I did not stop to fix it. Then came my wife. Her name was Elena. She was the kind of woman who smiled with her eyes before her mouth. She loved books. She loved music. She loved a man who was never home. I used to tell people, my wife understands. She is a soldier's wife. But do you know what I learned later? She did not understand. She endured. There is a difference. Understanding is when someone agrees with your absence. Endurance is when someone survives it. Elena survived me for 26 years. I remember one evening I came home from a 6-month deployment. I walked through the door, expecting her to run to me like she used to. She did not run. She looked up from her book, said, "You're home," and went back to reading. I should have noticed then. I should have understood that something had already died between us. But I told myself she was just tired. I told myself we would talk about it later. There is that word again. Later. You see, the cracks in a life like mine do not appear all at once. They form quietly. A missed phone call, a forgotten birthday, a letter that comes too late, a child who stops asking, a wife who stops waiting. And every time one of these cracks appears, you tell yourself it is small. You tell yourself the foundation is still strong. You tell yourself you will repair it next month, next year, after this one last thing. But cracks do not stay small. They spread. They run through every wall of everything you thought you had built. And one day you wake up in a house that looks perfect from the outside and you realize it is hollow. Completely hollow. I want you to think right now about the cracks in your own life. The phone calls you have not returned. The I love you have not said. The hand you have not held. The apology you have rehearsed for years but never spoken. You think you have time to fix them. I thought the same. I was wrong. And in the next part of this story, I will tell you about the night everything I had built finally came crashing down. The night I learned what real loss feels like. It was 1988. I was 60 years old. I had just been awarded the highest honor my country could give a soldier. There was a ceremony, a parade, a photograph that ran on the front page of every newspaper. The headline called me the greatest commander of our generation. I came home that night expecting to find Elena waiting. I imagined her standing in the doorway with the newspaper in her hand. I imagined her tears of pride. I imagined, finally, that after everything, she would look at me the way she did on the day we married. The house was dark. I walked into the kitchen. The lights were off. On the counter, there was a single envelope with my name written in her handwriting. Inside that envelope was a letter, 4 pages long. I will not read you every word. Some things I've never said to another human being, and I will not begin tonight. But I will tell you this. In those 4 pages, Elena wrote everything she had wanted to say to me for 26 years and never said. She wrote about every birthday I missed, every promise I broke, every night she had cried herself to sleep while I was on a base 10,000 miles away. And then she wrote one sentence I have never forgotten. She wrote, "I waited for you to come home. You never did." Not really. By the time I finished reading that letter, my hands were shaking. I sat down at the kitchen table, the same table where my son had left his drawing all those years ago, and for the first time in my life, I cried. Not the polite tears of a soldier at a funeral. I broke the way only a man who has been pretending for 60 years can break. She did not come back. I called. I drove to her sister's home. I stood on a porch in the rain like a fool, calling her name. She would not see me. She would not even open the door. Do you know what hurt the most? It was not anger. Anger I could have understood. Anger I could have fought. There was no anger in her. She was just done. Finished. Empty. She had given me every part of herself for 26 years, and one day she simply ran out. A week later, my brother called. My father had died. He had been sick for 2 years. 2 years. And I had not known. I had not asked. I had been too busy commanding, too busy strategizing, too busy being important. He had asked for me on his last day. My brother told me this on the phone quietly, with no anger in his voice either. He said, "Father asked where you were. We told him you were serving." He smiled and he said, "Of course. Tell him I was proud." That was his last sentence. About me, a son who had not visited in 11 years. 11 years. I want you to understand something. I had spent my whole life believing that if I just won enough, if I just achieved enough, if I just rose high enough, then everyone I loved would be there, at the top, waiting to celebrate with me. That was the deal I had made with myself. That was the story I told myself every time I missed a birthday, every time I broke a promise, every time I chose the uniform over the people who needed me. It was a lie. The whole thing was a lie. You do not get to the top and find the people you love waiting for you. You get to the top and find that they have lived their whole lives without you. You are a stranger to your own family. You climbed a mountain that took you further and further away from them, and you called it success. That was the night the truth broke through. That was the night I finally understood what I had done. But understanding came too late. It always does. Let me tell you what I understood that night. And in every night since. For 60 years, I believed I was building something. I called it a career. I called it duty. I called it sacrifice. I told myself I was serving a great purpose and that every person I disappointed, every birthday I missed, every dinner I skipped was a small price for something larger. That is the lie I lived by. And I want you to hear it clearly because you are probably living by some version of it right now. The lie sounds like this: I'm doing this for them. I will make it up to them later. They will understand when they see what I have built. One more year, one more promotion, one more deal, one more deployment. It is always one more. It is never enough. Here is what I learned. Here is the truth no one tells you when you are 30 or 40 or 50, when you still have time to listen. In war, I was taught 1,000 strategies. I was taught how to take a hill, how to hold a line, how to break an enemy's will. I was the best in the world at these things. Generals from other countries flew across oceans to study what I had done. But in life, none of it mattered. Not one strategy, not one victory, not one medal. Because life is not war. Life does not reward the man who takes the most ground. Life rewards the man who keeps the people he loves close to him until the very end. I lost every person I loved because I treated my home like a battlefield. I treated my marriage like a campaign. I treated my son like a soldier under my command. And I treated time like a soldier treats ammunition, as if there would always be more. There is not always more. Time is not ammunition. Time is the one thing you never get back. Not with money, not with apologies, not with all the medals in the world. Listen to me. Listen carefully. You think you have time. You do not. You think the people who love you will wait. They will not. You think success will fix what your absence has broken. It will not. You think you can be a stranger now and a father later, a stranger now and a husband later, a stranger now and a son later. You cannot. There is no later. There is only now, and then one day there is the end. I want to give you the lesson I paid for with everything. With my wife, with my son, with my father, with my own ability to sleep through the night. Here it is. The people in your life are not waiting for the great version of you. They are not waiting for the successful you, the rich you, the famous you, the important you. They are waiting for you. Just you, present, sitting at the table, picking up the phone, looking them in the eye, saying the things you have been saving for some perfect moment that will never come. That is the only victory that matters. The only one. I won every battle, and it was the smallest, easiest victory I could have chosen. Because the real war, the only war that ever counted, was being fought inside my own home, and I did not even know I was a soldier in it. I was a deserter. I left my wife alone in that war. I left my son alone in it. I left my father alone in it. And by the time I came home, the war was over and I had lost. I was wrong about all of it. I thought I had time. I was wrong. I thought love would wait. I was wrong. I thought success would matter. I was wrong. Don't make my mistake. Don't make my mistake. So this is what I want to say to you. Directly, eye to eye, from an old man who has nothing left to lose by being honest. Tonight, not tomorrow, not after this video. Tonight, I want you to do something. Put down whatever you are holding. Look around the room you are in. Think of one person whose voice you have not heard in too long. One person who used to matter and who maybe still does, but you have let the silence grow between you. A mother, a father, a child, a brother, a friend, a wife, a husband, someone. Pick up the phone. Call them right now. Before you finish this video, I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, it is late. They are probably asleep. I will call tomorrow. I will call this weekend. I will call when I have more time. That is the voice that ruined my life. That voice has a name. Its name is later, and later is the most expensive word in the human language. Later has cost me everything. Do not listen to that voice. Just dial. If they do not answer, leave a message. If they have not spoken to you in years, leave the message anyway. Say the thing you have been holding inside. Say, I love you. Say, I am sorry. Say, I miss you. Say, I have been a fool, and I do not want to be a fool any longer. You will not regret it. I promise you that. The only regrets you carry into old age are the words you never said and the doors you never opened. I am 90 years old. I sit in this room every night alone. There is a photograph of Elena on the table beside me. She passed away 7 years ago. We never reconciled. She forgave me eventually in her own quiet way. But forgiveness is not the same as a second chance. Forgiveness is a door closing softly. A second chance is a door staying open, and the door was closed long before I knew to walk through it. My son Daniel, he is in his 60s now. He has children of his own, grandchildren. He visits me twice a year, out of duty, the way I once visited my father out of duty. He is kind to me. He calls me father, but he does not call me papa. He stopped calling me papa the night of that school play, and he has never called me papa again. 60 years. 60 years of being called father instead of papa. That is the price. I tell you this because I do not want you sitting in a room like mine, at an age like mine, looking at a photograph of someone you loved, wishing you had picked up the phone when you still could. You think your life is just beginning. You think you have decades. Maybe you do. Maybe you have one more day. None of us know. That is the only honest thing I can tell you. None of us know. So this is my warning from the end of a long life to the middle of yours. Do not chase what does not love you back. Do not climb mountains that take you away from the people who matter. Do not save your kindness for some perfect moment. Do not save your I love you for a deathbed. Do not save anything. Spend it, all of it, now, because one day, sooner than you think, the room will be quiet. The phone will not ring. The chair across from you will be empty. And you will understand what I'm telling you tonight. You will understand it in a way no words can teach. I hope when that night comes for you, someone is still there. Someone is holding your hand. Someone you held first, a long time ago and never let go of. I won every battle. I lost every person I loved. Do not make my mistake. Now go. Make the call.